Woo! Wow.
Hola! Welcome, everybody.
What's up?
What's
We are
up?
back.
We are back.
Holy
It's
shit.
a long time. This is our introductory episode of the Jeff and Dirk Show. Thank you for sticking with us in the interim while we got everything figured out. I think we might have explained before in past episodes of Comically Gaming, but in case you missed it, there's not going to be any, as far as I know, hardcore format changes, at least not yet. In the future, who knows? But if you guys and gals out there want to see anything different from us, let us know. Until then, it's just going to be Jeff and me covering the biggest news in gaming and comics and geek life and all that craziness. Just everything that picks up, that we pick up from all the fun spoilerish websites out there. Dude, I get ruined by those things all the
I
freaking
know.
time.
We
Well,
gotta
also,
watch.
what's that?
You gotta dodge clickbait half
Oh,
the
dude,
time.
it's so terrible. And now they do like, what's gonna happen to Redacted? And I'm like, well, you know, as a headline, that might not bother you, but because I've been following the show, I know exactly who you're talking about. So your little
Yeah.
Redacted doesn't help any.
Yeah.
Um, but with the show, we'll also be continuing the IRL segment from before.
Word.
That's where we discuss sort of what we've been doing the last 2 weeks. We're going to try to do a bi-monthly program here, the same as CBBC. We just talk about what games we've been playing or what we've been watching or how we react to whatever news has hit the decks. So, I mean, without further ado, Jeff, how was your week?
It's craziness ensues is how my week was. Man, I don't know. It's it is crazy. And
What's crazy about it? What happened?
man. So I don't know if you heard, but they last year announced at BlizzCon that they were going to be dropping the classic World of Warcraft servers
Uh-huh.
that were brought live back in 2004, so like 15 years ago,
Yeah.
and you could play on the original servers and how God intended you to play an MMO back in 2004. And they did a stress test probably a week and a half ago. They did a stress test, and any person that had an active subscription could jump on and play vanilla, as it's called, classic World of Warcraft, and all its grindy, running hell that it is.
That is
And
wild.
it is amazing. And so
So they're not going to update it at all? What are we talking about here?
they're not. They're keeping it. They kept it like in its pristine kind of state. And so you actually playing it, you're like, well, I'm glad that they changed this, and I'm glad they changed this. So you realize all the quality of life changes they've made over 15 years
Yeah.
are amazing.
Right.
But for some reason, we want to bang our heads against this hard dude. I don't know if you ever played World of Warcraft.
I have never once played
But
it.
when you play an RPG, do you really read all the text from the quest giver, especially if you're playing like a Baldur's Gate or a kind of like that?
No.
No,
I mean,
you
if we're
don't
talking
either.
about what's the one? D2? No, it's
No,
impossible.
you
It'd be
don't.
like
But
reading a book.
and it has an arrow. It says, go over here, and you sort of follow like an arrow, and it shades an area, and like
Yeah.
maybe circles it. Not in classic WoW, dude. Not in classic WoW. Because one, if you pick up the quest like in the middle of a zone
Yeah.
and forget where you got it from, you'll be wandering around and it'll say something like, "Oh yeah, this scorpion needs to be killed to avenge me, and he's up on a plateau to the south." South of what? I don't know. So you end up running all the way south and like trying every crevice and stuff, and you're like, "Where is this?" And then you go up in the middle of the zone, and you're like, "Wait, there's a plateau south from this dude by a tree. There it is." And then you finally. So you actually have to read the quests to find out where to go because there's no arrows on your map to tell you where to go.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's and
I mean,
they
is
are.
that a good or a bad thing?
It's fun. It's. Remember how when we were kids and you played and you learned to play video games in the arcade, and there was one
Right.
level
Yes.
of difficulty, and that was arcade.
Right.
If you sucked, you were out a quarter. So you kept feeding quarters until you got really good, and quarter
Totally.
lasted you a long time. So
Simpsons game.
it's hard, and
Yeah.
people were rage quitting. It was awesome. So long story short, on World of Warcraft Classic is it launches in 6 days. By the time we release this, it'll be 5 days. So the 20.
Are you gonna dive in and we won't hear from you anymore?
For a little bit, yeah. So I was pretty
gonna
excited.
be like, "What the hell are you doing,
dude? I was playing it, and there's like all these idiots running around, and they keep asking like, "Where's so and so? Hey, do you know what this quest and where this is?" And I told one guy's like, "Dude, I have not done this quest in 15 years."
That's wild.
And all he said was, "Dang."
Yeah, that's
Really
bizarre. It's really surreal.
It's awesome. It is a lot of fun, and no, it's cool. I logged in to the server, and I was able to reserve like names for my original characters that I had, and
That
it's
is sweet.
It's gonna be a blast.
Kind of envious.
And then on my PlayStation 4, I've been playing Nier Automata.
I'm real curious about that one. I was curious about it when Nate and Corey played it. So
I like it. It's actually really cool. It's actually a really beautiful game.
Yeah, I've heard.
And I love the music. I love the music in it.
That's awesome.
It's very soothing. I don't know, kind of cool. So I'm not too far into it.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of digging it. It's kind of like a Bayonetta kind of style to it.
Uh-huh.
Where it's just like Bayonetta and a Diablo kind of hack and slash your way through, and you do all these crazy things.
No, that's sweet.
But it's beautifully done. I dig it. I'm liking the story so far. It's wild. And I'm at this point right now where I'm like, okay, what's going on? And I had to stop playing because I had to do something else. So I stopped in this boss battle. So when I pick up my PlayStation again, I'm like in the middle of a fight, and I got to remember what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I have not played Eve in a while, and we'll get to that later in the news of the week. But we are boycotting Eve right now by not logging in, and so we're finding.
You gonna cover this in the?
I will. Yep.
Okay.
But I have found other games to take my time on my on my computer, and a game called BattleTech on Steam, which is kind of like a turn-based strategy game, Mech Warrior.
Yeah, you know who's there's somebody on YouTube. One of our, I don't remember who it is. One of our subscribers.
Wasn't it Rab? Wasn't it Rab?
I think it might have been Rab.
Rab 2746. I can't
he
remember.
Was big into BattleTech.
He was, and it was a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And so I've been playing that. So hey, Rab, if you're watching this, I'm playing BattleTech.
Holla.
What's up? And I mean, lastly, my week, obviously, my background has changed completely because I moved.
Jeff moved
back in July.
Yep.
And that's kind of why the show is like on hold, is because I'm become like a lumberjack in my backyard. I got a chainsaw and an axe, and I got Babe the blue ox over here. And
oh no!
Me the logger can go round and round. I already can see it. But yeah, so that was my week.
Sweet.
What you been doing?
Man, I've been doing a lot this week. I'm gonna go by order of hours that I've sunk into something. Okay. And the number one thing that we have wasted our time on, which is so much fun, is Horizon Chase Turbo, which is a racing game that's like $5, I think. It might be $10. I don't know. It's $5 or $10. Super cheap on PlayStation. I got it because the wife wanted to do a racing game, so I was like, "Yeah, let's just do something cheap, test it out. You know, I was expecting something like, what is it, Malibu Drive or whatever it's called. That what's that arcade game?
Like Outrun or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
And it's not much different than that, but I wasn't expecting much. I'll put it that way. I was just like, you know, it'll be something we do, yada yada. Dude, it's so much fun. It's super basic, but something about like the upgrade system and the way that you beat levels and close out a city, because you go to cities and beat them out. You know, you got races in each city, and you try to get gold in each city because that'll get you a new car and that kind of stuff. The way it like opens up, man, and it flies. You know, the graphics are shit. I mean, it is like bare bones, just like the most basic thing that you can possibly imagine on PlayStation 4. That's what it looks like. But for some reason, it just calls you. It's like you just we come back to it again and again, and you know, it's fun, man.
Sweet.
It's really fun. The other thing I beat this week was Uncharted 4.
That's amazing.
Thief's End, which might be one of the best action games outside of God of War, I think, in the industry ever, in the history of video games, I would say. That I felt like, you know, it's so seamless in the action and the way that you move through the game. We've gotten really lucky with the PlayStation with action games on it. I noticed that between the two, like, they've just gotten revolutionized where you go, like, I noticed this in Uncharted, you go down paths, you know, like towards stuff, and you don't even realize that the game is pulling you in those paths. Your eyes just kind of gravitate towards certain spots and you go towards it, and then it actually ends up being the spot that you need to go to.
Yeah.
You know, the game design is just so out of this world. Beyond the story itself, the story was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into spoilers here, but the characters are all great.
I love how they tied it. They wrapped it up at the end of that game.
Yes.
That whole last. I don't want to spoil it either. We need to all do a spoiler session on it because we've all beaten it again. I may have to play it again though, but I just love that conclusion that you get full circle with the whole thing and all the little jokes and everything that's been playing through the whole series.
Right.
It all comes into one. And you're like, okay, yeah, I love this game.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm digging it. Naughty Dog, I love you so much.
It was so great, man. So great. It was really fun. It was really easy to go through. I didn't get frustrated ever with it. I don't know. It was just a great game. And I'm sad to end it, but I'll jump on Lost Legacy, I'm sure, soon.
Lost Legacy is fun. It's fun.
Yeah, nice continuation. Because obviously I have all the time in the world. I went and got a Switch also, so.
Oh, you got the red and blue knee Joy-Cons too, huh?
Yes, I did.
Me too.
Yeah. I really haven't jumped in. I played a little bit of Breath of the Wild, and I played some Nintendo stuff, some NES stuff. I played like Ninja Gaiden and Master Blaster. Or Blaster Master.
Master Blaster. No, it's Master Blaster. Yeah. I remember that. That was the shooting. So what do you think, though, playing those old NES games again?
They're so hard, dude. They're impossible.
I know, right?
They're impossible. I played Metroid, and I was like, I can't play this.
Well, okay, Metroid. Especially Metroid, because you're so used to just hitting a button, and the character just jumps as high as it can, right?
Yeah.
In Metroid, you have to hold the button to actually jump your full height. Did you notice that?
Yeah, exactly. I had been playing Ninja Gaiden on a ROM.
Okay.
So I knew sort of how hard it was, but I got to a boss in it, and oh my god, the bosses in Ninja Gaiden are just forget about it. You would have to spend. I would have to sit there and waste. Which I guess I used to do because I beat both Ninja Gaidens like back in the day. But there is no way in hell I'm coming even close to that because
No.
it like the time that you have to spend to put into that, man, it's weird. You would think that with the progression of video games, that that they would get harder as time went on.
They've gotten
just got
easier.
way easier. Yeah.
They've gotten easier and dumbed down, and this is why, going back to WoW Classic, 15 years ago, games were still hard. MMOs were hard. You were lost. You didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
And
right.
that goes back to my thing about how, in the arcade there was one setting, that was arcade mode, and that, yeah. So
right. Totally.
And we were 10 years old playing a Nintendo.
Oh man.
On one set level setting, and that's how we got those basic gaming skills.
I guess, yeah, that's what it was, because I can tell you, like, I beat so many Nintendo games that there is just no chance in hell. Like, obviously, like a Mario game, I can beat Zelda, probably, from back in the day. I don't know about Zelda 2, but I can beat Zelda.
Zelda 2 is a grind.
Yeah, but man, like Master Blaster, all those like Faxana, all these weird small games. I
Kid Icarus, Castlevania, just
Mega Man, all the Mega Man,
Double Dragon. You can't jump. I kept dying because I expected my character to like transition and move up, and he would like fall off the damn building. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Where's the jump button? How do I get off this stupid building?
The other thing about them is that they're so unpredictable. Like, you have to sit there and memorize patterns that are so labyrinthine and just like elaborate and crazy that it just take you a long time. It's not impossible, but it'd take you a long time. I don't have the time for that anymore. No. And then the last thing I did this week, my in-laws were in town, and we went to the National World War II Museum, which is in the Central Business District here in New Orleans. And I've already been once, but today I realized like it's gotten even bigger than the last time that I went, and it is just the most jaw-dropping museum experience I've ever been to, hands down. They devote a floor to each front of the war.
Okay.
So you have one for North Africa, you have one for Europe, and you have one for the Pacific.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the three that they cover in extensive detail. But they the way that it's laid out is like, so when you walk through like a setting, like when you get to the Pacific, you start walking on this like sort of recreated sand, and you've got palm trees in the building.
Okay.
And like it's intense, man. There's screens all around you. It's almost like it's meant to recreate the chaos of the war experience for people walking in, because there's just so much information coming at you that you have to sit and like try to narrow it down and focus on one screen, because you're hearing the noise from everything coming at you, it's intense. I mean, it's hard to make it through there without, you're constantly either getting goosebumps or your eyes start watering. I mean, it's something that every person in the U.S. should probably do at least once in their lives.
I'd be interested to see how well they do for the Pacific Theater.
It's yeah. I'll put it this way. When I walked upon the D-Day room, like there's an area just for D-Day, right?
Yep.
They recreated D-Day with models. Like, so you see all of the ships and the planes. You see the full scope of it from a coastline in model form with like lights on it. Hey, I mean, I think the general American has no idea how big.
No, they don't.
This war was, and how much was at stake until you see it all in its glory, a horrific but epic glory, We tend to probably lose track of it because the way that it's presented on TV it's not made for TV. It's something that you have to see like full body, just all at once. And the way that they present it in that museum is just like, it's unreal.
Yeah. Well, anytime on TV, it's hard to capture the essence. And so I remember when I was stationed in Pearl Harbor, and I would go around to the Pacific Islands where the war happened and lived on the island where it happened.
Yeah.
The thing that you don't ever realize is how humid it is, and it's just probably as humid as New Orleans is. Yeah. And these dudes were like nasty, sweaty, barely any water or food, and they fought it. And I was at Okinawa and just saw how the terrain was and how oppressively humid it was.
Yeah.
Those poor bastards.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's just it's so much, and they go into what American life was like at the time, the sacrifices that people at home had to make so that they could, and the way that it shifted the workforce at the time because so many men were leaving and women getting out of the house, and there was so much stuff.
All the propaganda, Rosie the Riveter,
all that stuff. Yeah.
Rationing. We never talk about rationing.
Right.
How much they rationed, actually. Yep.
Interestingly enough, and I'll end it here, is that I didn't know about how messed up China got from what Japan was doing to China in the war. Yep. I had no idea about that. China apparently lost 20 million people in World War II. Yes. I had no idea. I didn't know that the Japanese were walking into villages and killing civilians like left and right in China, and then practicing biological, like, horrific experiments on the Chinese. Yeah. I had no idea. Wow. I was like, my God. But yeah, I would say people out there, like, I think you owe it to the guys that were in that war to at least try to come and see this place, because it will live with you for a long, long time after you do it.
Yeah. Any World War II museum history, just yeah.
It was just such a big, it felt like one of the most epic world events. I guess it was.
Well, it was. It kind of was.
That was our week.
That was our week.
Breaking views. Breaking views. This is our news segment. It's just going to be the same as we did with Comically Gaming. We're just going to count it down. Yep. News items from 5 to 1. It's generally going to be the stuff that's popping in the last 2 weeks before we record. So,
and then that changes. And then that changes in the last 2 days before we record. It's just blowing up.
Yeah. It's just never fails. Never fails. So we'll jump in. Number 5.
Number online. 5. So the brilliant devs of CCP that brought us EVE Online.
This is EVE Online Age of Chaos update.
Has decided that we are in an age of chaos. So they want to just completely turn the game up on its head. So last month they decided to remove all local chat in like the nullsec area. So nullsec is just like the lawless portion of the map that's pretty much open PvP. Mm-hmm. It's man against man, You have large alliances and coalitions and everything. So nullsec, they took away the fact that you did not see who else was locally in that space with you.
Oh, wow.
And then if you spoke in local, then it would show up delayed in the chat window and your name would pop up, but no one else, if they didn't want to say anything, you didn't know they were there. And so it became more of like you felt like you're in a wormhole where there's no local. It's really strange. So they got rid of local chat, and that we call blackout, because supposedly they were following lore that this race had invaded Eve and had taken out the chat, basically chat channels, the subspace chat channels.
Okay.
So we started protesting because they just dropped it on us, like, oh, we're going to try this out as an experiment. And now they've brought on another change with Sinos. And Sinos are how you move large capital ships. And before, any ship could fit this Sino serial generator that basically is a beacon, and a ship with a jump drive capability can jump so many light years across space. And it used to be any ship, you just had to train up a certain number of skills, and then any ship you flew, you could put on one of these generators, load up your cargo hold with fuel, and go out and like light it and have, a giant fleet jump onto this guy that's mining, and he just gets obliterated.
Okay.
Well, now they've changed it to where only certain ships can have that ability to fit this module. And
how does that affect you?
It doesn't affect us. You just have to change how you do logistics.
Oh, okay.
But it's a huge change because it's just all of a sudden only certain ships can use it. And then, that limits like how you what ships you have available. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's dumb. And a lot of people are voting either by not logging in.
Wow.
Or
that's crazy.
They're canceling their subscriptions and requesting a refund.
Jesus.
And people have upwards of 10 accounts. They have 10 accounts that they pay for a month. And so they're just pulling the money back. And then to top it all off, they're doing this killing spree, or skilling spree as they call it, where you go out and you kill this certain type of NPC ship and you get skill points. And then you have to wait 24 hours for it to spawn again and it's the dumbest thing in the world. Basically, you're doing daily missions in Eve. And, everyone is just, I've been on Twitter saying and telling the devs and everything, I'm like, hey, if I want to do daily quests, I'll go back and play World of Warcraft.
Right.
Because our dailies are way more fun. So, yeah, it's the age of chaos, and they've got to be careful. Eve Vegas is coming up here in 2 months. And so I will be in Vegas in 2 months for Eve Vegas.
So are you switching to World of Warcraft and Battle...
BattleTech, yeah.
BattleTech right exclusively? Yeah.
Not exclusively, but yeah.
That's so crazy.
I haven't logged in almost a month in Eve.
Wow. Jeff.
Yeah.
Did you have any withdrawal symptoms happen, or?
Nope. Not at all.
Cool.
But now, number 4.
Go for it.
Netflix has decided to bring back the animated He-Man series.
Why?
And they chose Kevin Smith to do it.
Did you read any of this?
I read a little bit of it.
It's very bizarre. So he's gonna be doing basically it's like a wrap up. Like he's gonna be answering all the questions left by the original series, which I don't remember what those questions are.
I don't either.
I mean, is it about like, does Beastman wear a diaper underneath his underwear? I don't know. I don't know what questions are lingering, but
I think if Kevin Smith won, he needs to like refresh our memories, because I haven't watched He-Man since since after school cartoons,
right,
30 years ago, and the last movie they made was terrible.
No, I think that, look, the Masters of the Universe has a lot of rich lore there that you could explore. So there's a lot that you could do with it. That being said, there's also a lot that you could ruin or screw up. If it's going to be like a comedy thing, I don't know. I'm not really about that. I would prefer to see something that is just awesome.
If Kevin Smith can just keep within the confines, I think he can keep within the confines of what Mattel wanted with He-Man. That's
Right.
one thing. I mean, I don't expect it to be like the animated version of Jay and Silent Bob, Mallrats, and Clerks all rolled into one, because it's I don't think they're going to do that, because he has directed. I mean, Kevin Smith has directed more than just his own movies. He directed a bunch of episodes for like Supergirl.
Sure. Yeah.
And so you don't even know it until you read the credits. Like, oh,
he's written some comic books also.
Yeah, yeah, and he's big into comic books. I mean, he's huge into comic books. So I think that it's going to be. I think he's going to do a good job with it, as long as he's not restrained by the folks at Netflix and Mattel.
Yeah, I just don't know what to expect from it at all.
No.
Zero. The only inkling of an idea is that Powerhouse Animation is who's doing the animation.
Did they originally do the animation?
No, they did. They did the latest Castlevania thing.
Oh, okay.
That's the biggest thing that they've done, but they actually do a lot. They have like tendrils in a whole bunch of stuff, but that's the biggest thing that they're a part of. Let me rephrase that. Maybe not the biggest, but it's the only thing that I could recognize on the list of their projects.
Okay.
Put it that way. So it might have an anime-ish style to it. That's not. I mean, if you look at Castlevania, it's not straight anime.
Okay.
It's more like an Americanized kind of soft anime. So it might be in that vein, which I would totally be down. I love the Castlevania series, so if it's something like that, I'm so about that. Absolutely. I'm gonna check it out. I mean,
I'll check it out. I would like to see if they would kind of keep it with the style of the cartoon style, though, of He-Man that I remember as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, but maybe clean it up, modernize it, but keep that. I don't know.
I think there are a lot of great characters to use, man. Triclops, Leech. I mean,
Cringer.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get me started on Battle Cat, dude. I'm Team Battle Cat all the freaking way. All right, number three. Ewan MacGregor. Ewan MacGregor in talks to renew the Kenobi role for Disney Plus. What do you think? You're the resident now. Between the two of us, you are the Star Wars consultant. Tell me your thoughts.
I don't mind him being Kenobi, but it's gonna be on the Disney Plus, and I mean, even with the announcement that Disney has bundled Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN content for $13, I'm still not going to pay for another stream service, because I already pay for Netflix and I already pay for Amazon. And then I get regular broadcast TV.
I'm sorry, dude. I'll tell you everything on it because I'm totally getting it.
Are you?
I mean, I have Hulu already, so between the difference that I pay for Hulu and the service, it's gonna be like an extra $5 a month or $4 or whatever.
And I know the benefits of getting Disney, and I'm sure that once full-blown trailers come out for The Mandalorian, and then the Marvel TV shows, and the Star Wars, all the stuff that's coming out on Disney Plus, I'm sure I'll be like, I hate you so much, the mouse, and I'll want to like rip its ears off, but I'll probably pay for it and watch it.
Listen, I understand completely where you're coming from, because this is Disney fatigue.
Yes.
And I'm going to talk about it in the next piece because that connects to it. But regarding Ewan MacGregor coming back, I don't think that should be a shock to anybody, really. It is going to be exciting, I think, to see MacGregor done in the Kenobi role the way he should have been done.
Yeah.
Which
I agree.
I don't think anybody's thinking about. we're just talking about him coming back. We're not talking about the fact that, like, since Disney's taken the property back with a few missteps here and there, in my opinion, for the most part, it's been fantastic. Putting him in that vein, and we don't know what the style of that show is going to be. If it's something like, I'm reaching here and I'm being hopeful, but if it's done like Rogue One with Ewan MacGregor as Obi, like,
I don't think it's going to be done like Rogue One.
It's not going to be done like that, but I'm hoping. But
Rogue One was an amazing movie, and
yes,
yeah,
but anything's better than the prequels.
It's going to be like Solo, I think.
Literally anything's better than the prequels. So putting him in something where it's a more competent series and like we're able to see a great, or at least a good, solid show about Obi-Wan with him in the role, I think would be kind of cool. It's not going to be any worse than the prequels. I'll leave it at
Don't say that.
I know, kiss of death, right?
It could be, because they'd be like, hey, George, let's just one last hurrah. Since you knew Alec Guinness when he was alive, why don't you take the reins on this, Kenobi? And be like, no, wave off. Wave off.
Exactly.
Get some Ivan Kershner or something. Make it dark. Make it Empire.
That fatigue leads us into number 2. Hit it.
Yeah, and this is a double-sided number 2 item. So it was announced, I believe, Monday? Yes, on Monday.
Yes.
That Sony has purchased Insomniac Studios. And for those of you that don't know, Insomniac Studios are the ones that brought us that amazing Spider-Man game on the PlayStation almost a year ago.
Which leads us to
that Sony and Disney were in talks about the rights of Spider-Man staying in the MCU, and those have broken down. And so Disney now does not own the rights for Spider-Man in the MCU, even though they just came off of, $1.1 billion in sales from Far From Home, which was an awesome Spider-Man movie. And not to mention that, they're setting up the fact that Spider-Man's going to take the reins and basically take over for where Tony Stark left off. Sorry for the spoilers for those who haven't seen Endgame. But Peter Parker's going to take the reins from Tony Stark for reasons that I will not divulge.
Right.
So, I know it's not dead yet. But, if I think that Disney has enough money that they should just give Sony what they want.
You know what? I'm going to echo that. Everybody's taking Disney's side in this because they want Spider-Man in the MCU, right?
Yeah.
We all do. Okay?
Yes.
But if we look at the guts of what's being reported, Disney is ridiculous on this because they've earned 5%. Their current deal is for 5% of the Spider-Man properties, the movies, right? Sony movies.
Okay, 5%.
Okay. They're asking for 50-50 with Sony.
Oh.
Which, I think that Disney has enough money. My God, man. I mean, you are making enough. You don't need to get this deal. You don't have to have this exact one. You can make the deal with Sony for the 5%. Even try to up it. Don't ask for the 50. I don't know. Ask for 25. Yeah, 15%, 20. I don't know. You don't need the 50. Okay, go for something. Spring for something smaller. Make Sony happy and continue to make this happen.
Because Sony, it kills me because it's like Disney has basically Lucasfilm. It has Skywalker Sound. It has LucasArts. It has the right tools to keep making amazing Spider-Man movies that aren't going to look like a bag of assholes or like Venom. It's not going to look trashy.
Right.
I mean, and Sony can't make a movie that's awesome to save their life.
Well, except for
What?
Spider-Verse.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right. I forgot. They did have the sun shines on a dog's ass every once in a while.
Yes,
because
I think
Spider-Verse was amazing.
Right, it's possible, but they, the other thing is like, tone. If they make this, if this breaks down, they're not going to be able to reference any of what's happened to this point, because they're not going to be able to talk about Thanos. They're not going to be able to talk about Iron Man. That, like, all of it's going to be extricated from what has happened already. And to me, that's just a mess. Like,
it is, because they've already, I mean, Far From Home, they basically went full Monty and doubled down with, okay, we're Far From Home. If you watched this before you saw Endgame, guess what? We just spoiled that whole thing for you.
Right. Yeah.
But they, I mean, and they set up with an awesome MJ. I mean, yeah. I love the girl that plays MJ. I like the fact that I can't remember the actor's name, the guy that plays the teacher.
Uh-huh.
And then they got Marissa Tomei as Aunt May.
Yes.
So, everyone's dreams come true.
Right. Positive. So, yeah, I just don't. I don't think everybody should immediately be taking Disney's side, because they're trying to bulldog Sony. But at the same time, Sony, hasn't made the greatest films in the Spider-Man universe. So there's blame on both sides. Find a way to make a deal here, because we're all going to lose if you guys don't.
We will. The fans will lose in the very end. I mean,
yeah,
and I know what Sony's thinking. That's the thing. You've hit it on the head when you say that, Disney thinks that their shit don't stink anymore because they have all this, and they're like, all right, we already have all this, so you need to just give it to us, because we just got we just got Marvel from Netflix, mm-hmm. And then we just got Hulu from Comcast. We bought out their share, so it's like, they think that we're untouchable. Well, no, you're not, and
they can demand what they want and get it, and Sony's standing up to them, which I admire to an extent, but. The other thing I worry about is, the Spider-Man universe in and of itself, unlike a lot of other Marvel properties, has really, and I'm talking about referencing the comic books and the characters, it's really got its own thing. So, I mean, Sony could feasibly make a universe out of the Spider-Man brand.
Yeah, they could go more Spider-Verse.
Well, and in respects to that also, with Marvel's plate is so full and crowded that are they going to give Spider-Man the love that he deserves with having that many properties on their plate, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they would be able to, because that's a lot. They have to worry about putting all this other stuff out. That being said, I mean, if we get a Spider-Man movie every, I don't know, 3 years or something connected to it, I would prefer less and have a more quality film than something that's like every, Well,
whatever. And you mentioned that, that their plate is so full.
Right.
And that's not the only thing. Do you think Disney's actually ran out of content to do?
No,
because look at what they're doing. They're remaking like live action films of their animated movies.
Yeah. Well, no,
those are a travesty.
Yeah,
I know. It's like, don't you have something better to do?
That's just a big misstep. Now with Marvel, if you're looking at, if they're not sweating for content in terms of Marvel. The MCU, because they got plenty. They can pick anything from the books. I worry, though, that Spider-Man's going to get slept on.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I would prefer to have 1 or 2 good, solid Spider-Man films in a 10-year period than a whole universe of movies with maybe an occasional Spider-Verse thrown in to it,
Well, I just wish that I want to keep seeing Tom Holland as Peter Parker because I like him as Peter Parker.
Yeah, I think
I really do.
Yeah, I agree.
But,
Number one.
all right, number one, and I think this goes with Dirk's one of his predictions for the year.
Yeah, I think I might have. Did I miss out?
No, you got it. I mean,
Oh, did I? Okay,
yeah,
I got it. D&D announces Eberron Rising from the Last War, which is going to be the official introduction of Eberron into 5e. Before, we got the previous Eberron PDF. It wasn't in book form, but you could not use that in any official games in 5e.
Yeah.
I mean, you can unofficially run it, but if you were doing it in the League, Adventures League, you could not touch Eberron. And this will open up Eberron to be able to use. That includes 4 new playable races. It includes a brand new class, which has not happened since the Player's Handbook,
It's
in
crazy.
the Artificer. And it invites a whole bunch of dragon marks, which is it would take too long for me to explain here. Let's just say it has to do with some magical tattoos that you get on your body. But Eberron, for the people who aren't familiar with Eberron or D&D, for the role-playing TTRPG, the tabletop role-playing D&D stuff, Eberron is sort of the steampunk noir mystery, quagmire of lots of low-level magic, but very, very rare high-level magic. There's airships, there's elevators, there's all kinds of weird stuff that is not in the typical, prototypical fantasy that's being done by D&D right now. So Eberron's awesome. I love it. I didn't know about it until I got back into 5e.
Yeah.
I know that it was introduced in 4e. Keith Baker is the guy that created it. It was released via a contest that D&D put out for people to submit their best settings, and he won, and deservedly so. I don't know who he was going up against, but this is exciting. I don't know. I don't know if I'll run it because there's just too much to get into. I mean, there's too many games and there's too many settings. I don't know.
So much going on. We haven't even
just
touched Ravnica.
We haven't touched Ravnica, Saltmarsh.
Yeah.
I wanted to do something non D&D maybe. I don't know. I would love to do Eberron, but I might just maybe play it instead of run it. I don't know. We'll see. But regarding the book that's coming out, the cover is absolute garbage and has been destroyed online by lots of people. I don't know what that is about. It looks like a graphic designer just took a bunch of random images and threw it at a but then the alternate cover, it looks fantastic. It's gorgeous. I mean, it's awe-inspiring. So I don't know what they were thinking, but who knows? But but I'm excited, man. Eberron's great. I think they totally did a fake out on us because they were like, we're dropping a new setting again this year.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And it's like, well, we knew that was coming already. So thanks, Wizards of the Coast.
Why don't you give us psionics? Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Jeff. That would be so great.
Come on, Kate Welch. If you're watching this, come on.
Right? Oh, man. Don't get me started on psionics. But
he's so sweet, dude.
I don't know. I'm going to let you guys think about it. I mean, maybe if y'all are more interested in Eberron over Ravnica, or
I don't know. Personally, when I was reading through, because I went out and bought the Ravnica book to get more in depth, I kind of like. I mean, it's really involved, but it's almost like It almost feels like you could almost merge those Eberron and Ravnica together.
I think you could
It would
to an
be
extent,
crazy.
you know,
It
because they're so very different. Both of them are so
Mhm.
very different from the core. They're from the core releases in 5e. You know, they're not like Ravenloft or Faerun at all. I mean,
Mhm.
at all. But they could. I think they're similar to each other enough. You know, like they both have the weird like I call it like you know the random planets in Star Trek when
Yeah,
the Federation would arrive and the people wearing the clothes when they would go
yeah,
down. That's
prime
what it
directive.
reminds me of.
Yeah.
They have the weird clothes, you know, like with like lots of asymmetry going on.
Without really reading the Eberron book, I think I would be more pulled towards playing Ravnica because the character that I made that one character and I want to see how it plays out because of how that character was built.
Right.
And it just seems really cool.
The
Uh,
guilds are great. Yeah.
yeah, I want to see how that because I could almost see like throwing a little twist into a Ravnica campaign,
Yeah.
doing like almost like a Dune kind of thing. Do like a Landrad kind of
Yeah.
twist with the houses.
The cool thing about Ravnica is that it's a city-wide or a planet-wide city. So
Yeah.
the cityscape that envelops the entirety of the planet. All the green space that's in there happens within the city. So, but you do have large patches of green space that are undeveloped that have tribes and stuff. Whereas with Eberron, it's man, Eberron's just got all kinds of craziness. It's got some tech in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's got probably the most tech that we have in D&D thus far because you've got um, you've got the artificer, you have a battlesmith, you know, you got a new class that can either be an alchemist or he can be a guy that you know sets up a gun that shoots magic in battle. So it's crazy. It's I will say this about it, and this will be my last point. I do like that we have a new class because
Yeah.
I don't think we get enough. And it is refreshing. I love the idea of an alchemist. I don't know why it's taken this long to be used. To me, that seems like it would be a no-brainer to be used. But welcome to 5e, Eberron.
Well, welcome.
I think everybody's excited.
All right.
Redo your covers for next time. There you go.
Thanks. That was Breaking Views, and this
Breaking Views.
concludes the inaugural episode 1 of the Jeff and Dirk Show.
Woo! Later.
Peace.